Snowline Gold is in elephant country, an underexplored geological region in the Yukon. The company is targeting Tier 1 discoveries. Snowline is ticker SGD on the Canadian Securities Exchange and SNWGF on the OTCQB. CEO Scott Berdahl. Scott, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Michael. Good to be here.
Scott, big picture, what's Snowline Gold targeted on?
Like you say, we're looking for very large gold deposits. We've identified a new area in the Yukon that hasn't seen much previous exploration, and yet it's extremely prospective with some big anomalies to date.
Let's start with Jupiter, Scott.
Yeah, so Jupiter is what we started with as well. It was the first target that we drilled of two that we drilled this past season. And as you said, we started in early 2021. We just came out of the gate with this idea. Snowline was chasing this new district, and yeah, we had to start somewhere. Jupiter is an epizonal orogenic, so a very shallow, sort of structurally controlled gold system. And really, at the start of the season, it was a float train that we had found in the creek. Again, just these big, anywhere from like a microwave kind of size to meter scale quartz boulders going down 3 kilometers of the stream, assaying anywhere from a half gram to 25 grams gold. And that just shows you how unexplored this is. This stream had never been staked before. That just shows that no economic geologist, no prospector had even walked up it before. And when you look at the rocks that it's sitting in, they're analogous to rocks in Nevada. They're intruded by rocks that are analogous to the Fort Knox intrusion in Alaska. So, it's a very prospective environment, and just to take the first crack at it is a pretty special opportunity. But getting to Jupiter, we had that flow train when we started the year, and we had to do something with it. And so we made our best educated guesses as to where these rocks were coming from, looking at some subtle features in the landscape, looking at the geochemistry. But it's a blind target, and we poked some holes into it. We did about 4,000 meters drilling over the length of the summer, encouraged by what we saw in our first holes. And midway through the program, we really got into the thick of it with some really big holes. I encourage people to go to our website and check out some of the results that we do have on there, particularly holes 10 and 11 that we drilled on Jupiter this summer were just fantastic intercepts, multiple zones of high-grade gold, individual zones of up to 6 grams over 6 meters of 13.9 grams per ton gold, and intervals kind of on a similar of a similar caliber that just repeat down those holes. So really exciting to get into that, especially drilling blind, just not knowing where to hit this system. We've so far drilled 1.1 kilometers and found mineralization along 1.1 kilometers of a 3 kilometer geochemical anomaly there. So we're super excited to get back out there.
Tell us about the other target, Valley.
Yeah, so Valley is a different style of target. As I mentioned, it's more like Fort Knox in Alaska. We have this intrusion coming up. Even the intrusion itself, it's about 1 kilometer across, daylight on surface, and yet it's not on any geological map. So again, just really highlighting how unexplored this area is. And with the last 4 holes of the season, we moved down to Valley, and we tested out that intrusion, and just drilling on the edge of it, where we saw these sheeted vein arrays that carry mineralization in deposits like Fort Knox. We really knocked it out of the park, I would say, with those holes. 3 out of the 4 holes carried more than 1 gram per ton over more than 135 meters. The best hole hit, what was it? It was 1.25 grams per ton over 168 meters. So pretty nice for the first few holes into a target. And the surface geochem suggests there's a lot bigger system for us to check out.
Congratulations, Scott. Let's maybe back this up. It is a greenfields exploration. Could you tell us what the Lassonde Curve is and why a snowline is really on the steepest part of the curve?
Sure. So the Lassonde Curve by Pierre Lassonde is sort of a hypothetical model that shows, the sort of typical, I suppose, or expected trajectory of an exploration company from ideation and launch of the company through to successful production of a new discovery. And so, of course, at every stage along the way, most companies fail. So that's just the nature of the industry. But as you start this curve, you have companies that they've just launched, they have a new idea, but they have to test it for a while to get it to a drill ready stage where they can really, take out the truth machine and make a discovery. And that can take anywhere from a year to even 5 years. And that's very high risk capital. It's the expenditures are relatively low, but nonetheless, the bar is very high in terms of finding a brand new drill target. But what happens when you start drilling that's when you really make discoveries. You can discover an outcrop and it could just go to nothing underground. Like, it looks great on the surface, but there's nothing underneath it. Of course, it could go the other way, and then you're really onto something. But that's much more rare than the former case. When you do drill, that's when you know which it is, and that's when you really start to bring something to the table, and you can start to put a resource together. And so that's why so much value is added during discovery, is that you quickly take something from essentially nothing. There's no resource there beforehand, and you create a resource that can have an NPV in the hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars. So you just basically create this resource out of nothing. Obviously, the resource was sitting there, but it was unknown. But bringing that into the light of what we know is out there really adds a lot of value, and it can happen very quickly. So we are ideally poised at that sort of inflection point where we have done, prior to launching Snowline, a lot of work out there, and we've kind of taken care of that long, drawn-out ideation phase and that high-risk ideation phase, and really identified this district and a lot of targets on the district. The first two are a beautiful proof of concept that we're onto something. We have a long way left to climb on the Lassonde Curve, and we're really excited with what we've got so far.
You have some significant investors, some people that are very well known in the mining space, Scott.
Yeah, we were lucky to capture the attention early on of Keith Newmeyer of First Majestic Silver, as well as Quentin Henney from Crestcat Capital. They were both big backers early on. Eric Sprott is a large shareholder, and Palisades as well has taken a significant stake in our early rounds. So we're pretty excited to have those companies behind us, and that's made a big difference in the capital that we have available to explore.
Talk about the team at Snowline, Scott. You're really an old Yukon hand. We are a very Yukon-focused company too, and we're lucky enough to, at the board level, have recruited Craig Hart to chair the company. Craig is a world-class expert on several deposit types, and including the Fort Knox-style reduced intrusion-related gold systems. And so, it's a tremendous asset. He also worked with the Yukon Geological Survey for, I think it was about 14 years. So he knows the Yukon very well. He's based kind of half here, half in Vancouver. And also on the board, we have Sarah Weber, who does a lot of very, she's a geologist as well, but she has made her focus sort of community relations and events and this sort of a thing. And so she brings a lot to the table in terms of our awareness and abilities on the ESG front, and building a responsible company that can explore, in today's world. And finally, we have Gunther Rolig on the board, a great source of capital markets knowledge and, a wealth of information for us. So that's a very strong board behind us, and helping to navigate the company. They're also an extremely active board. I don't think many companies have a board that's so as engaged as ours. So we're very happy to have that. And that was sort of a requirement both ways when we were setting it up and setting up the company. And in the meantime, we've just made some significant hires at the at the management level. We've hired an exploration manager, Thomas Branson, who has over 15 years of experience in managing large projects in the Yukon, in British Columbia. He's a professional geologist. He has been around on a lot of different and really exciting projects. So we're happy to have him helping out as we really ramp up the scale of what we're doing out there in 2022. And we've also brought on Steve Reynolds, who is a great hire. He's someone who started on the project as a soil sampler under a previous owner back in, I guess it would have been 2012. He's just kind of climbed through the ranks in doing a lot of other things and shown, it's one of those nice moments where you get that organic internal hire where you just find the right person for the right job. And he is, he's one of the main cheerleaders. So if you meet us at a conference or
that sort of a thing, you're likely to run into Steve there flying the flag high.
Scott, tell us about environmental social governance principles at Snowline.
Yeah, so the ESG is important to us more than just appearing on our slide deck. As we came up with the idea for the company, we wanted to build a company that is really forward-looking and that can operate in today's environment and really set a high bar for others to follow, and really hopefully make a good impression for the industry. And so that's easy to say, tougher to do. We're working hard to do that. We have made progress in the field, researching ways that we can cut down on our fuel emissions through potentially bringing solar into camp. Little things like, big things like progressive reclamation. In repairing sites as we drill, as we move the drill from one site to another. Then we're already recontouring, replanting. We've built a site-specific seed bank for the various sites that we are drilling. And we're even looking into, potentially getting baseline studies set up that down the road will really help in terms of not just having a very clear picture of the environmental impact of the projects, but also help in permitting timelines and so on. If we have this baseline data going back all the way to basically the very early drill stages, we are working primarily in the traditional territory of the Notchunayakdun First Nation. Our flagship projects and both discoveries we talked about are in that traditional territory. We are building a close working relationship and keeping open lines of communication there. And we've also made it a point to really work with them where we can, and not the First Nation certainly, but also just the Yukon in general. We are a Yukon company. I'm a Yukoner. I was born and raised here, and we're trying to build the kind of company that we're proud to be a part of here in the Yukon. So that's taking a lot of steps in that direction.
Lastly, what are some catalysts over the next 12 months, Scott?
Yeah. Well, over the next 12 months, hopefully plenty. In the upcoming few months, we're really still putting together the land position out there, working on a few things behind the scenes that will hopefully help to kind of generate excitement as we move towards the season. I think a catalyst also before we get to next season is just getting the word out there further. Snowline is still a relatively unknown company, but when you dig down into the discoveries we made and into the implications they have for this regional scale picture that we're looking at with, multiple targets that are very similar, like a dozen targets that are similar to the two that we just drilled over a few different deposit types, it starts to get really exciting. And I think that as that word spreads, that itself could be sort of a slow burning catalyst over the next few months. And of course, we're looking at an 8,000 meter drill program with 2 drills at this upcoming season. That'll kick off in mid-May with drilling starting by June 1st. And we will be putting 1 drill on Jupiter, 1 drill on Valley, expanding those targets and really getting a much better picture of what's there and how big it is. And then similar to the way that we moved the drill from Jupiter down to Valley, we'll be moving both drills from their main targets, call it 80% of the drilling being on those main targets, and then pulling them off to some of these secondary targets too, because we don't want to lose the forest for any one tree, but we do want to get a very clear picture of what we have out there. So I think we can sort of duplicate what we did this summer, but hopefully twice as big.
Scott, we look forward to news from Snowline.
Thank you, Michael.
He's Scott Berdahl. He is CEO of Snowline Gold. My name is Michael McRae. You're watching Kitco Mining. Next, let's learn a little bit more about Snowline.
I'm Scott Berdahl. I'm the CEO of Snowline Gold, and I've been prospecting in the Yukon since I was a little kid. My father, Ron Berdahl, and I were prospecting in this area looking for a type of gold mineralization called Carlin.
It's a huge type of gold deposit, and The geology in the Yukon is very similar. A continental margin, it's called, where the ocean meets the continent. Very similar to what they have in Nevada. And so a lot of people have speculated over the years that if they have those kind of deposits in Nevada, why aren't they here? And so we started looking for those decades ago, and that's what actually got us to this location here.
As prospectors, we couldn't get much interest in the idea, but then Attack Resources made their discovery, and we were very well positioned with our work that we'd done at that point to move very quickly and picked up a whole series of targets, which would become the Einerson project. Einerson is a district-scale gold project. It's about 72,000 hectares, and we have a very extensive geochemical database from the past operator of the project, and we're very fortunate to be in a position with a lot of low-hanging fruits in terms of targets, such as the Jupiter Zone, which we've drilled this summer. And it's exciting. It's a place that just hasn't really seen much before, but from the data that we're seeing, it's extremely encouraging, and we think we're onto something big. Just south of Einerson is the Rogue project, and it covers a series of intrusions associated with the Tombstone Plutonic Suite, which is a fertile intrusive belt that crosses Alaska and the Yukon. And we've found some very intriguing early stage results there, including grab samples on surface up to 152 grams per ton, sheeted quartz veining with gold, which you see at deposits like Eagle, Victoria Gold, and Brewery Creek and Fort Knox in Alaska. We have switched to drone-based mag surveying on the Rogue project. And so we're getting very high resolution data, flying lower than a helicopter can, but with very low carbon footprint and very low overall impact as we fly the drone around.
We've got a really dynamic young leadership team, which I think is fantastic. I think we need a lot of energy in this sector, and Snowline Gold Corp got an amazing group of assets. It's got the right people that are coming together with a mix of depth of experience and youth and energy. It's got a great portfolio of properties in the Yukon with some really amazing gold potential, and early exploration results are looking really good.
As Snowline Gold, we're very fortunate to be able to take the first crack at these targets. Snowline is the culmination of decades of prospecting that my father and I have done, and so to have the team around these projects and the resources behind these projects that we have now is basically the most exciting point of our career to date.